I had to report live from the war room. Hello. I had to let my husband in my war room, y'all. I don't know about all that. That's a problem.
Oh, it's all good.
You don't need to be in.
Is that better? Is that better, team?
Are we good? If we're good, give us thumbs. Yay! This is normally where I do my scopes. So, all right. Hi, Brent. Thanks for coming back, guys. Simon Little, thank you. Miami Guy, thank you. PYT 1999, thank you. Bill Doe. Okay. So, back to where we were. We were, man, that was getting good.
Basically
okay,
good.
So that devil, he can't stand us.
He's a punk.
Okay, so let's get back to where we were. So
Yes.
we're reporting live from our war room. I know some of y'all like, where they at? We in my prayer room. No, don't judge me, okay? So we were talking about the interview. So you were like, don't be going to the first date talking about where your mom at? Somebody still saying Frozen. Okay, now there we go. All right. So we can't go to the interview talking about the date interviewing them. We can't do that. Now, I have, even after 15 years of marriage, I had to learn not to ask my husband a bunch of questions because it made him feel like I was trying to be funny. So, honey, what's your thoughts?
The thing is, you can ask the information, you can get the information that's needed. It's just in the manner in which you go about it. You can have a conversation and ask follow-up questions without it coming across like you're just interrogating someone from the gate. So where you from, what are your plans, what do you want to do, where do you see yourself in 5 years or whatever, versus just talking to someone. At the end of the conversation, he may tell you where he plans to be in 5 years if you just listen throughout the conversation, ask follow-up questions and that sort of thing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Will you give me a high five? No, I had my hand up because you'll say that you said that, hey, Apostle Bell. I don't know who that was, talking about Apostle Bell. But anyway, no, remember I was talking about how the guys will wait until we're in love with you, and then we don't know the real deal until after.
And we're talking about, the first date. There are appropriate times to have certain conversations. After you've been dating somebody for a period of time,
but what's that period, though?
I mean, it's not, there's no exact science. There's no standard date that says, okay, on the third date, it's okay to talk about what your credit score is or whatever the case may be. It's going to be a case-by-case scenario, but if your relationship is headed in a certain direction,
exactly,
then okay, so now initially the first date, you want to establish things like, do you all have a common interest? Do you all share some of the same interests and that sort of things? What are your deal breakers? So you need to know those things up front. Some stuff you should have asked before y'all even decided to go out on a date.
Thank you.
So
that's what I'm saying. But so where do we? I know I'm hyped, like I'm about to go on a date.
It's on the chill.
It's on the calm down. It's on the calm down. No, because I hear so many women that get frustrated because the guy will wait until the second, third, fourth, fifth date, and then I'm already kind of feeling you, and then he's like, yeah, so just want you to know I'm still married. Or,
there's some stuff you need to ask from the giddy up, to determine whether or not you all are going to go out on the date. Hey,
what do you mean his child, such as what?
Are you married? What is your status?
Right, we shouldn't be on a date, though.
You shouldn't be on a date if you...
Whatever to the phone call.
Thank you, yeah. The phone calls before you even decide to go out.
Because you have thirsty chicks that want to go ahead and solidify their relationship with this guy to see if he's the one or not. What's your deal breaker? That's right.
Yeah. If you're not trying to deal with a man for whatever your personal reasons are, you don't want to deal with someone that has children. You just don't want that drama. You don't want that baggage. You probably need to know that from the gate.
Right.
So that establishes whether or not you all are going to have a date or future dates. If you are at different perspectives in life, where the person has no get up and go or whatever, you're going to figure that out from the gate. You know, asking someone where they work, there's a difference. I mean, okay, so you're a lawyer and he works at McDonald's. But there's a difference. There's a difference between, the guy that's working at McDonald's is like, I want to learn the industry. I've started. I'm a team leader now.
Bro, need to franchise that.
You need to stop cutting me off. First off. But there's a difference between the guy that's, hey, my goal is, I want to be a general manager. I want to have my own franchise someday. That has an idea of where he's going with it versus, Tyrone that's like, yeah, they put a boy on fries the other day, but I can't handle all that responsibility.
No, that's right.
So that sort of thing. So, you need to ask some stuff up front. Are you married? What, and that may lead to some secondary questions. Do you have children? Are you how active are you in your children's life? Those types of things. Some of those things need to be established before you all even go out on a date.
Absolutely. So then how does a woman not look thirsty by asking? Yeah, that's a great question. And I was not going to engage in premarital sex. Well, see, we shouldn't even go on a date if he has a problem with that. That's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Because you kind of know if a guy is just wanting to have sex with you. You just don't ignore the red flags. When a guy, but we push through those red flags and we're like, no, maybe that was just a bad day he was having. No, he was looking at your boobs the entire time you were talking about your kids.
But don't serve the boobs up in the conversation.
This is true. This is true.
Sometimes sisters, we accentuate your mind. You want to put your mind and the other tangible assets that you have on display, and not necessarily your boobs. And then you wonder, he didn't even look at my face the whole conversation. Because your boobs was out on the table, so he looked at boobs.
Not on the table.
Yeah, on the table, like with the appetizers and everything.
So, I thought you meant like she needed like an extra bra.
Oh, so I wouldn't even go.
Okay, because some people like that. But so there's also thirsty guys that it's not. Sometimes we look at the women as being thirsty, but there's some thirsty guys out here too.
There are some thirsty guys, but real guys will respect and appreciate a woman who's upfront about her personal convictions about wanting to abstain from having sex. And if you can set those boundaries early, the real men can appreciate that. Now the guys that's just out for that, they'll show you their true colors from the gate, and you'll know that, and it's like, oh, he wasn't worth my time.
Exactly. And then men, they get to. Here's the thing about the guys that I do appreciate, because all men aren't thirsty. All men don't want to sleep with you. But some of y'all women, though, you go on the first date already defensive, already with your guard up, already ready to be like, but how many baby mamas you got? But to me, it's all about your posture. What is your posture like? Why are you going on this date with this guy? Are you going because you're bored? Are you going because you're trying to find a date before Valentine's Day? Why are you going on this date? This is kind of like people have dumped the person right before Christmas or Thanksgiving, and then now they're trying to get booed up for Valentine's Day. Then they're going to dump them for summertime. Then it's going to be time. It's like a cycle. So ask yourself, what's the cycle in my life? There's a good chance that you started a relationship right around this time, so you can have a little heart, little teddy bear, that old Walmart teddy bear, and you can have them old flowers and all that foolishness for Valentine's Day, just so your friends can be like, oh, girl, who is that from? That is so nice. Stop it.
And make sure that you're at a place to where you're ready to date. If you are divorced, or if you're coming out of another long-term relationship, you have to really be honest with yourself and make sure that you are healed enough to be ready to start dating again, because guys will pick up on that drama from the gate, and it's like, ooh, no, because we can sense if you're on the defensive. So it's like, why did you even come out if everything I ask you? No.
Right. What's your problem?
What do you want to do? No. See, that's that bull. That's what so and so did.
That's that bull.
That's that bull. So come on. It's like, dude, we just haven't. We just went to the movies. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Right. And even, let's talk about the movies. I don't think a movie is a good first date.
No.
I don't think you should go to a movie the first date, because you're not having a conversation. You're just sitting in the movie looking at a screen, and they're on a date. That doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So then if he's trying to feel on you during the movie, then you looking at him like, but I'm saying, no, you were trying to feel on me. Dude, you went to the movies on the first date. What else was he supposed to think? You want to go to a restaurant that neither of you like, so that it makes you both have to explore, because if he takes you to his favorite restaurant, that's probably where he takes all his first dates, and then you'll be sitting there looking stupid like, what? Who is that? who is that? And they walking up to your table like, oh, so who is this? Right? So agree on going somewhere that you both have never been to, because you'll learn a lot about that person on that date. Because what's going to happen is, if they order something that they don't like, if they going off on the waiter looking stupid, or if they're like I have a habit of recreating the menu. Okay, so he knew that when we first got together.
First dinner
I recreate menus, okay? So he knew I was that type of chick. Even before my family told him I was that type of chick, he already knew, oh, so she one of those. I will change the menu. I will be like, I want fettuccine Alfredo with chicken, but no chicken. What?
No, I want shrimp in it.
But I want you to add shrimp.
And we don't serve shrimp here. Send somebody to the store and get some shrimp.
Right. But what my point is, you want to go to a dating spot where neither of you've been to, so then you won't run into any ex-baby. Hopefully, you won't run into any ex-baby mamas or all that. I mean, not ex-baby mamas. Ain't no ex-baby mamas. You can't run into no exes. You don't run into any exes or things of that nature. So go somewhere that both of you can explore, because sometimes when you go somewhere where you're going to have new experiences, that's when you'll learn a little bit more about them.
And it levels the playing field too, because if he takes you to his favorite spot, he knows, what things to order and that sort of things. But when you go someplace that neither of you have been, it levels the playing field. So both of you kind of have to be on your toes to a certain extent. And again, you get to watch for mannerisms and different things, because it stretches both of you. You're both out of your comfort zone, so that forces you to place the attention on one another, and not, I know the ribs here are slamming, so if the date suck, I know the ribs is gonna be banging.
Okay,
so,
I know that's
puts
right.
the emphasis on really having a quality conversation, and it almost forces you to have a conversation, like, so you can't say, so what's good here? I don't know. I haven't been here. So, let's try something different. I'll have to try something different, or this looks good, or what. And it makes for good conversation starters, like, oh, that looks interesting. I wonder what that's about. Oh, I have allergies. Oh, well, tell me about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I just remember one time I had this, my face all up or whatever. Because when I was with Tyrone, wait, who's Tyrone?
Right, who's Tyrone?
Who's that?
Who is Cindy? Who is Keisha?
Right,
okay, because you don't.
No, Cindy used to cook them shrimps.
Like what?
Wait,
no.
What are you talking about?
So, but that's when you'll find out. So it's not really about going to the first date with interview questions, but it's going to the first date open to hear, because I promise you, somebody's going to say something stupid and you're going to be like, I can't.
But the first date is an interview. It just cannot have the appearance of it being an interview, because a lot of stuff is going to be said. Everything needs to be observed. I would not necessarily recommend that you're out there physically taking notes. But you do want to be recording mentally his answers, listen to his nonverbal communication when you talk about certain things. I was talking about I was talking about my I'm going to my family reunion next weekend or whatever, and if he kind of goes away, perhaps there's some issues with his family, perhaps there's some drama there, or what is it he's not saying when he talks? Is he real short when he answers certain questions,
or tries to change the subject,
or try to get things off kilter, or to try to deviate around a certain subject matter or whatever the case may be. So it is an interview to a certain degree, but we're with men, you have to use sort of the Jedi mind trick with us. You have to pretend that we're not really being interviewed, but we really are being interviewed. It's just the manner in which you go about doing it. You can still get the information that you're looking for, because you're trying to establish, is there enough interest? Is there enough potential interest, common interest for another date, for us to even continue this relationship or whatever it is, that's what. So
and don't give
take
any
your
labels.
Time. Take your time. So a lot of my little sisters and single sisters that I know that are in my circle or whatever that are dating, they go on 2 or 3 dates and they booed up, and it's they done changed statuses to you in a relationship and y'all just went out 2 or 3 times.
And then you looking dumb when you got to change it back to single. Stop doing that. Just stop it. Until you get a ring on your finger, you are single. I am sorry. If you're engaged, you are single. If you are divorced, you are single. If you are widowed, you are single. Take your time. There is no rush. Just wait. don't try to rush it.
Someone asked the question, it's not what you say, but how you say it. The point that I was making is you can still get information in the conversation without it seeming like you're interrogating the gentleman on the date. It's the manner in which you go about it and still getting the information, asking follow-up questions off of something he may have led the conversation down a certain road, and you may, kind of go down there. Oh, I was playing basketball the other day because I used to play ball back in Hampton. Oh, you went to Hampton University. Okay, what was your major? Versus, so what school did you go to? What was your major? What was this? What was that?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
It's all about your posture. That's what I was saying earlier, that it's all about your posture. How, are you doing the neck roll? Like, so how many kids do you got?
As much as you are observing and taking information in, he's observing and taking information in. So if men don't like drama. So anything that looks like drama, that's close to drama, smell like drama, has the even utter appearance of drama, we want to steer clear of that. So if we see a whole bunch of neck rolling, or you get all crunk because they burned your steak or whatever, and I understand, you want good service and that sort of thing, but sometimes people just go overboard. You're at a restaurant, sometimes they're gonna mess the order up, some stuff is gonna happen, and if you lose it over them getting your order right, then you really gonna have some issues.
Clearly.
With, some real tangible issues.
So let's talk about one of the questions that came through is there's a woman with a special needs child.
Yes.
And she's like, okay, so I have my special needs child, and I need to know, do I tell him I have a special needs child on the first date, or do I tell him after we've established a relationship?
I think that the subject of children should be something that's discussed either prior to establishing whether there's going to be a date, or certainly as a part of the first date, because any mom or good mom their children is going to be a priority in their lives, and just like with any father or a good father, their children is going to be a priority in their lives. So if they do have children, that's something that needs to be established from the onset, particularly if there's a special needs child,
right?
Because that may require a different level of commitment as far as time, as far as the other person's availability and that sort of thing. So that person needs to be a very, very understanding type of individual, and that's not something that you want to hit somebody with, 3 months, 6 months down into the relationship. And so, it's something you want to know from the get-go, because you don't want to get yourself involved with someone that's not going to accept the total package, which is your children are a part of you, and whatever needs they have, you have. So you want someone that is going to be in tune with those needs from the, so they need to have an understanding of what that looks like.
And respect the fact that that's not something he can handle. That doesn't make him a weak man. That doesn't make him somebody who's not interested in you. But some people know from the gate, you don't want anybody in your life that will not accept your special needs child or your children, period. Because some people's kids are special needs and they are not labeled as special needs.
Right.
No shade. I'm just saying some kids are just bad. And I'm like, that is a deal breaker. If you know that don't marry anybody with bad kids. Okay? You know it from the beginning, unless God is giving you an assignment that you're assigned to that person and you're like, I'm assigned to their children. I believe God has put me in their life for whatever reason. Okay, that's fine. But if you know from the gate that that's going to be a problem, you may want to rethink that, even if they're an adult. We're going to have another scope about grown children and relationships, and these, it's too much. So to answer the question, your suggestion is that she tells him either early or either on the first date. And like you said, I like how you said, if you're a good mother, that's kind of going to be one of your main discussions.
Yeah, most women that are good mothers that I know rarely have too many conversations that... when you're talking to someone that you don't know, at some point in the conversation, you're going to mention that you have children. Mm-hmm. I don't know of many good mothers that their children isn't a part of their conversation pretty much all the time. Mm-hmm. And the same thing for good fathers. Another question that was asked is, when is the appropriate time to discuss finances? Mm-hmm. And again, there's no exact formula. I would caution talking about, I was doing some research for tonight's subject, and I'm not a fan of online dating and that sort of thing, but I did research some of the questions that they recommend that you don't ask, and that was the one that was at the top of the list was, so how much you make? What do you know, that sort of thing. You don't want to ask that on the first date. And then I think, you know, as a relationship evolves on date number 3 or whatever, you know, after you've established where he works and that sort of thing. I mean, to me, the question of finance is going to be one that's multifaceted. It's multi-layered. It's more. It's where do you work?
And then what do you do?
And then what do you do? Where are you going? Versus we're down the line and now we're planning a wedding and now we got to have a different conversation about finances, about how much you make, what do you owe, what's your credit report look like, you know. What do you got saved? How we going to, you know, we're talking about having children. How we going to pay for college and those types of things. So you really have to, there are different questions about finances that can come up, but it has to be at different levels in the of the relationship. I wouldn't recommend that be something that you talk about early on, other than, you know, who about to get this check? If it's the lady, just go in understanding the gentleman should be getting the check,
right,
and that sort of thing. But outside of that, and look at how the man handles that. You know,
if he's
getting all funky when it's time for the bill to come, and then, you know, peep how if he's a tipper, you know, that sort of thing. You know,
that's good, baby.
Little
You've
tips
always
like
been
that come up like that. You know, watch stuff like that. If he's you know, kind of cheap, or if he tries to, like, all right, so I had the chicken wings.
Oh yeah, see, that's wrong.
The chili fries, you know, that, you know.
It's like, so you got $2-3. Can you do the tip? And that's no,
that's whack.
It
now,
is.
you know, down the line, if y'all having a relationship, it's like, okay, sweetie, I'm gonna take you out to dinner or whatever. That's you know, that's perfectly fine. But you know, don't go out and expect, and the guy should not go out and expecting the young lady to pay.
So let's talk about sex real quick. First and last day. Okay, I know that's right. So let's talk about sex really quickly. You don't want to talk about that? Okay.
Sure.
Now I want you to be G-rated. Be nice. Okay.
You telling me?
All right. Yeah, that's true. So let's talk about sex. First of all, one of the questions was, there was an article that talked about why men need sex, sex as a stress reliever. Why men, or do men really do that, or is that just like, are you really disgusting if you're using sex as a stress reliever? Now, yeah, we grown, but here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to just say, and then hubby will say something, but I feel like if you're married, and your husband says, babe, I had a bad day. Now, some people disagree. They were like, no, he needs to do this for me. He needs to do that for me, or whatever. But I just feel like that's just something you should do for your spouse. Now, if you're dating somebody, y'all shouldn't even be talking about sex other than I'm celibate. Okay, you know, when people ask you if you're going to be celibate, you need to say that you're celibate, because some men, it's a deal breaker. For some men, it's an absolute deal breaker, right or wrong.
Sure.
So, I mean, is that true?
No, it's very true. For some guys, it is a deal breaker. So they want to know that from the gate before they invest going down a road that they don't want to go down. Or on the flip side, if a guy has made a decision, perhaps, you know, he's had some relationships in the past that were of a sexual nature, and he's made a decision that he's not going to have sex anymore until he gets married, then he needs to be putting himself in the company of somebody else that has those same type of values.
That's right.
So if the young lady is the one that's, like, you know, trying to turn up and throw down after the first date and all that, then he needs to let his
she's a deal breaker.
You know, that's a deal breaker for him.
Yes. So don't just So if as far as sex before marriage, or, I mean, we already know that's just not a good idea. Yes, it's a sin and all that stuff against God. But at the end of the day, why give myself to somebody I don't even know if I can trust? Can you pay bills? Do you know how to read? Hello? Can you write? Do you know how to bounce a check? Do you know how to write a check? Some people don't know how to do simple stuff. So if you have these people that you're getting connected with, and then we want to talk about soul ties, you know, everybody want to preach about soul ties like they know what that's about. But at the end of the day, if you're getting with somebody who has no foundation, they don't know anything about God, but you know you like you Jesus' cousin, and you go to church every week even when it's closed, and then you expect him, well, I can change him. No, you cannot. You cannot. Why do women want to change? Why do we want to change, y'all? What's that about? Especially if you came to the door telling me I want sex, right? And so why do we? I mean, but I do want to ask you, why do men have to have sex on, like, why can't they be more, let being celibate be more important to them, even as a single man? I mean, why can't that be a priority?
Well, unfortunately, in our society, sexual prowess, or how many women somebody sleeps with, is how many men define their manhood,
right?
And that's how manhood has been displayed for them. And so, for many people, depending on the circles in which they were brought up in, to be celibate is to be a wimp, or
right.
you don't want no girls, now you don't want to sleep with nobody, or you just don't want to sleep with no girls. What's
right,
up?
Right.
Then people start to question your sexuality and that sort of thing. So for some, it's just a matter of upbringing. It's a matter of a lack of maturity, a lack of understanding. A lot of us won't come to that place of understanding unless we have a really, really strong support system, or a really, really strong spiritual foundation early in life. Mm-hmm. A lot of men have to make that decision after they've already slept with somebody, to not sleep with anybody else, mm-hmm. Until they get married and that sort of thing. So that's where that comes from, and it's unfortunate. It's just the society that we live in. We live in a very, very sexually provocative society, and it's a well orchestrated scheme to tap into men's sexual libidos through advertisement, through, everything is like, regular TV is like soft porn these days.
Basically.
And,
we're talking about Viagra after like a Pampers
everything
commercial.
Is, just the commercials with, condoms and, jellies and all this kind of stuff. It drives men. You can't even go to the gas station just to get gas without. If you ever notice how stuff is strategically placed in gas stations, like the cigarettes and the sexual enhancement products are right where you're gonna go pay for your gas at. Like, it's right there for you. Look at it like, oh, you know what? I really just wanted some gas, but let me go ahead and get this bootleg Viagra real quick.
And them good condoms.
And them good condoms over there. Let me get them Newport shorts in the back. So, it's a part of the scheme to just tap into that piece of men that are sexually driven. And unfortunately, there's some women who don't value themselves enough to where that's all that they serve up. So that's how they catch a man. That's how they get their bills paid for. There's some women who go to college to catch a man.
Come on!
They major in catching a man.
Come on!
And it's some mamas that's training their daughters how to catch a man. And girl, this is what you do. You got a young cat that's pre-med, and this is what he wants to do. So unfortunately, there are women that play up to it as well, that are overly flirtatious, that dress provocatively and that sort of thing, and so they play up to it.